I have the pleasure of talking with Mr. Bhaskar Bhat, Managing Director of Titan Industries, which is part of the Tata Group. So welcome, Mr. Bhat. And I wanted to just find out a little bit about where you grew up, please.
I was born and brought up in Bombay. I spent about 22 years in Mumbai. It's now Mumbai. I did my schooling in Bombay, and thereafter I moved on.
So have you spent all your time in Bangalore after that, or somewhere else?
No, Bombay and then Madras. It was then Madras, now Chennai. And then I went to Ahmedabad. I worked in Ahmedabad, Kolkata, etc. And finally with Titan in '86, I moved to Bangalore.
What is it that they taught you, by living in each of these locations?
I think there is a lot you learn living in various places. I mean, Bombay has its own culture. Bombay is bindas. It's everybody is equal in Bombay, going by the local train and the BEST bus and so on. There's an Indianness about all that. But what I love about all these is the local flavor is so different and yet so friendly.
Do the work very, very well. Can an organization like yours that has several thousand employees, can you do that, or do you have to do it a different way?
I think we can do that. As in, you see, today, barring at some very minimalist level, entry point for a certain job, you need to have a degree. At retail, it's much less. We don't really care about the qualification, education qualification of a person, barring at a certain entry point. Thereafter, after 2 or 3 years, it's purely performance on the one hand and your interest on the other. There are stories after stories in this company where we have had people move from accounts to heading businesses, a translator who became head of design, a person who was doing market research, who's now who headed one design and then another design studio. So our ability to spot that interest in that person is what matters. It's not really the educational qualification.
What do you think in this culture that you have developed helped you develop the thinnest watch in the world?
The culture of openness and encouraging risk taking. Actually, risk taking sounds very big. I would put it as inspiring people to think beyond and think big. My predecessor, the founder of this company, his big mantra was think big, and also about how yesterday's truths are today's heresies, which is keep questioning, why should the Swiss be the number one watch company, country in the world, those kinds of things. India can do it. Therefore, this whole edge idea came from this desire, this ambition to place the company amongst the best watchmakers of the world. So what is it that we could do that would be world class? And then inspiring the engineers to work towards that, actually positioning watch as more than a timekeeping device and as a lifestyle accessory was was the very first innovation that Titan practiced way back in '87, '88. And now that is inspirational to the entire team. And I believe those ideas came from within. See, that is a big driver of innovation. You're not told, you're either inspired by somebody who's iconic, or you develop that inspiration yourself. because you think that is the right thing to do. Then the team begins to achieve those quite easily.
So if I'm a young person right now and I have listened to what you have just talked about, I want to know how I can do something similar at my scope.
Yeah.
It may be a small, a venture, but for me that is what I would like to do. How do I make sure what I do is going to be acceptable to consumers? Do I do research?
Research is good, but is limiting. My personal view and our practice is really, if you can live the consumer's life, if you can put yourself in her shoes. So therefore, what we do, one of the reasons why we have set up these stores, and we own some of these stores, not all are franchised, is to enable our people to experience consumers in the store, to be able to stand behind the counter. I mean, the people who are selling, they know it, but the brand managers, the designers, the managers, myself, going there, understanding what is the, what she says and what she means are two different things. This watch looks good means this watch, will it look good on me? The answer has to be,
very personalized.
Yeah, it is very personalized. And like that, so, how that product fits in her life is so important to whoever, even a youngster getting into, any product category. You go out and get your research done and you read a research report is barely going to add any value. You have a great idea, check it out, what difference it is going to make in the consumer's life. So you start with an idea. Then you say, okay, this is going to make a difference to my consumer's life. Check that out yourself. What is that difference that is going to make? Consumers can participate in your product development, and you'll be surprised at the number of things that consumers can contribute in developing a product. You'll be surprised.
Little things, no? They seem
little things. Little things.
But as a combination, they make it so that the person says, this is what I want.
We make a beautiful piece of jewelry, but the what is known as the finding, the lock, you don't pay attention to because it's not visible. But that's the most irritating part. One is the scratch, the other is it's always at the back. And she's struggling, she's getting ready to go to the wedding, this great piece of jewelry, and she's struggling. And the irritation that can cause, we don't pay attention, because for us, the look of the piece is important. The convenience of the consumer, how is she going to put it on, was never in our mind. So, it's so important to live the consumer's life, in real use, how does, it work, and so on.